what we're going to do in a moment is we're going to share an actual profile of a professional woman named Jody. And you also see my name on the slide here as an example. We're not going to look at my profile right now, but I encourage you to, after the webinar, to go take a look at it and the story that I'm trying to tell through my About section. And that really brings me to the gist of the About section, right? And that's the fact that it needs to tell a story. It needs to take your reader on a journey of who you are professionally, what your why is, what is it about your what should your target audience know about your why? You know, why you're a marketer, why you're in the world of finance, whatever functional area or industry that you have experience in or are targeting, the reader wants to know why, right? So that's one part of it, one part of telling your story. Another part of telling your story is the success stories or the stories of contributions or achievement that you've been able to accumulate over the years during your career. And so having a touch of accomplishment language in your About section is absolutely fine. You may be familiar with the idea that we have accomplishments on our resume, absolutely, for sure. And the About section of our LinkedIn profile is also a way to maybe draw some of our most relevant accomplishments up to the forefront, so you make sure that the reader does not miss them. Okay? And then another piece would be, what is your unique value proposition? What makes you different from others who do what you do, right? And I'll just give you an example, right? There are, in my case, there are literally hundreds and thousands of other career coaches out there, right? But what Eli and I feel makes he and I both quite different from, say, the average career coach out there is the fact that we have very rich international experience. We have literally supported job seekers from all over the world, from over 140 countries. I've personally lived in Japan and China and the UK. Eli has lived in the UK. I believe you also spent some time in Lebanon and France and some other countries as well,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Right. And so the USP, the unique selling proposition or unique value proposition that Eli and I both have as coaches is the fact that we are not only international ourselves, but we also serve international clients. So my challenge to you is to think about, what is your unique value proposition, right? So this is kind of what a recipe could look like for a LinkedIn summary section. And I say it could look like this because we're not proponents of a plug and play, this is the formula for your About section. We do have a formula we recommend for your headline, and we'll get to that at the right time. But for the About section, it's really on you, the creator of your profile, to tell your story in an authentic way. And these bullet points gives you some ideas for content that you could put into it.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at an example here. All right. Can you see my screen?
I can see it. Okay.
Right.
I'm assuming everybody
Perfect.
else can too.
If you can, everyone can.
Yeah.
Perfect. So this is a former client, Jody Worley, and she's based in the greater St. Louis area, background in sales, training and development, account executive, et cetera, et cetera. And when we started working together, her target was, she really wanted to focus on client success. So, she comes from the Midwest, she comes from a small community, and she wanted to tell an authentic story that really resonated with her ethos, right? So she actually did grow up on a farm, and she loves it. She has so many stories from her childhood where she reminisces on these things. And she was able to kind of keep herself entertained. She had a tight-knit community. Everything was rooted in respect and kindness and selflessness. And the story that she's telling relate to her morals and her values. And a lot of companies share very similar values and morals, right? So these are things that have followed her through her life and her career to date. So she's pulling in the audience because this is who she is, and she wants them to get to know her. Then a lot of key words being used here when talking about identify pain points, build long-term relationship with clients, solutions to resolve challenges, adding personalized human touch, clients, teammates. So a lot of key words that in her research she started to embed into her statement here. Then there are some results and some accomplishments. So this is like where you can imagine this as like being an opportunity to have a highlight reel, similarly to like athletes who kind of send their highlight reels in if they want to make it to the big leagues. So you can essentially have a few bullet points or just a quick way to kind of feature some of your biggest wins right here on the spot. And then towards the end, she goes into a little bit about her purpose, but more about like the value that she hopes to add. And really, she kind of pulls on the heartstrings and wants to be a role model for her daughters, a mother and a professional that they can emulate, and they can become independent and kind contributors to society. And she wants to support her company and clients by bringing her authentic self and to drive connectedness with the products and service, increasing retention, ultimately grow the relationship that the company has with their clients so they can succeed together. And those are basically all the core asks of someone who is trying to become a client success manager. So very well positioned, very well targeted, and very authentic to her personal story. And here she uses just under 2,000 words, but close, or characters, but close to it. And we'd highly recommend for optimized SEO to utilize as many keywords as you can. However, it's not 100% essential. I use like 3 impactful but short paragraphs. Peter utilizes like all 2,000 words, or characters rather. So it's like Peter said earlier, it's really up to you.
And I think in the end of the day, the keywords are important for sure, but what's more important is telling your authentic story. You don't want to get so bogged down and so over obsessed with keywords that you forget to tell your genuine story. So yeah, let's not over obsess on keywords. Let's include them, but let's be genuine.